So, in my latest podcast episode, looking at the growth hormones, testosterone, IGF-1, and HGH in type 1 diabetes, the more it got me thinking about puberty. Because insulin has an incredibly synergistic relationship with the growth hormones. First off, they're all anabolic, right? They're promoting growth. Insulin is there for energy utilization, which is something growth necessitates. It's creating new tissue, it's expanding our bodily real estate, new pathways, new receptors, the whole nine yards. So it would make sense that in times of great bodily growth, like puberty, we would have an increased reliance on insulin to facilitate the effects of those growth hormones. And being that I was diagnosed at 8 years old, which is technically prepubescent, I started to see that it might not be a coincidence that I went through puberty very late. Like things didn't really start to happen until I was about 16, didn't really start to peak until I was like 18 or 19, maybe even 20. And so in this episode, I'm asking the question, okay, what's going on with our hormones before type 1 diabetes development? Because with a graph like this, you can see that there are major changes that are happening before development. So looking at this graph, that top line is HGH. The bottom two lines are testosterone and IGF, with the x-axis being the years before type 1 diabetes diagnosis and all the way to the right at the time of diagnosis. And being that the x-axis is leading to type 1 diabetes, you can imagine our insulin levels being up here and gradually falling all the way down here. So what's interesting about this is that why would human growth hormone be increasing leading up to type 1 diabetes, Bowie? You've just told us before that we're losing out on growth hormones, but it really relies on the story of synergy between these three, because HGH is like a project manager. It's like a boss. It's a call for action to growth. And if you have a boss that just keeps asking for more growth, more growth, more growth, because even in response to like inflammation and the breakdown of tissue, that in itself is a call for growth. So you could view the trajectory of that HGH line to kind of mirror breakdown of tissue, inflammation, things not going right, and things needing to be rebuilt. Now, IGF-1 and testosterone, those lines on the decline, those are the workers. Those are the ones actually making things happen. So what we've got is a continuous breakdown of stuff and an increased call for growth, but no workers to actually get the work done. And there are two main peaks of type 1 diabetes development in children. In that prepubescent 7 to 10-year-old period, as well as the pubescent period somewhere between 12 and 15. But seeing those graphs made a lot of sense to me for someone who went through puberty late, because I did not have a solid foundation, a solid circulation of those growth hormones that needed to be there to put me through puberty. And the fact that whatever hormones I did have, IGF-1, HGH, testosterone, they all need insulin to do their job. So my puberty was completely facilitated by exogenous insulin, which might explain why it happened so late. Did anybody else have a similar experience?